There's a great article in the Financial Post by Gary Marr about investors putting cash to work in commercial real estate. Investors need a home for their cash. There's lots of it. $5.1 billion of commercial real estate traded hands in the second quarter versus $6.7 billion in the first quarter of this year. But what's interesting is in the first 3 months of this year, pension funds were responsible for about 31% of the commercial real estate purchases that were made. But in the second quarter, they only counted for 11%, which means that private investors made up the difference. That's a pretty big difference. That's 20%. So I've worked in commercial real estate, primarily mortgages, but certainly am familiar with the marketplace. And commercial real estate's always been a good long-term opportunity. Today, commercial mortgage rates continue to be very, very low, and banks have become more interested in providing capital to investors. What does that mean? Most times a bank will without even thinking, say, look, borrower, we will give you 65% of the purchase price in financing. But today, banks are very quick to offer up to 75% because of where the market is. But something that you should know and understand is the range of cap rates, or what are referred to as capitalization rates, that ultimately determine how much your property is worth. Don't make an offer on a property without knowing what other properties have sold for, not just the price, but actually the rate that was used to determine the price. So what do I mean by that? Well, if a property generates $150,000 a year of net income and the cap rate is 5.5%, that means the property is going to be worth $2.7 million. But if the cap rate used based on other types of properties that are of similar size and location and quality is 6.5%, that means that same property is $2.3 million. So if you're seeking financing and you were buying it for 2.7, the bank thinks it's worth 2.3. In addition to whatever your down payment is, you're going to have to come up with another $400,000 to make up the difference. So why is this important? Well, there is no way to know for sure what the capitalization rate is that the bank is going to accept for your property. 5.5%, 6.5%, 6.2%, 5.1%. The capitalization rates really, really range. In residential real estate, you can look at, 4 or 5 comparable sales. An appraiser will make a plus or minus based on one property having a nicer basement than the other property, or maybe one property being a walkout versus one property not being a walkout. But generally speaking, you can look at comparable sales and just look at the price that was paid and say, this is what my property is. But in commercial real estate, it's not the same. The capitalization rate that the bank uses to determine how much the property is worth is a derivative of not only the location of the property, the quality of the building, the expectancy of the building. Does it need a new roof? Does it need some exterior fixing? But it's also the quality of tenants. So if you have a building that has a rent roll on it, where most of the leases are coming due, that property is not going to get the same type of capitalization rate that another property would, where it has maybe 5 or 6 strong national companies that have signed 5-year leases. That cap rate will be quite a bit different. So when you're buying commercial real estate, and based on this article it seems like lots of private investors are, make sure that you know the cap rate before you commit to a transaction. And if you want to see what's involved in getting a mortgage for your commercial property, then jump on emilynow.ca, punch in the mortgage amount that you think you're looking for the property, and it's going to tell you the income and the other requirements that you'll have to meet. As well, it's going to give you the banks and lenders that can approve your deal and kind of what they would be offering you. So jump on, it's free to use. You can get our help if you do want help interacting with the banks, but you can also send your request directly to them using the website. And we're here to help you as well. We've got a great customer service team that can answer your questions and help you put together some of the pieces.